Dr. Jazz.
I know you've been, I saw you in Vienna like 2013. Maybe it was 2013 in
Okay.
but that's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think that's the closest you came to here. So
yeah.
But Marius, I'll just jump in. You know, you have a new record out, Happy.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it sounds killing, as all of your records.
Thank you.
And I wanted to ask you to start about your composing aspect. You know, when I listen to your music, it's you have these two parts. The way I hear it, like there's this strong rhythmic approach to your music. Then you have the beautiful melodies, almost like a Ornetish, Keith Jarrettish vibe sometimes going on, like, you know, even on the new one. And then you have this quirky element, like almost like Frank Zappa sometimes, like, you know, when I listen to that, The Unknown, like on the new one, it's like, what? You know, how do you compose? What's this, like for the new record, how did you compose the tunes, or what's your process there usually?
Oh, it's I think I think the answer to that is it's different from each time. Every piece that I have written has kind of been through its own, has been created is a different way than the last one. But I mean, the older I get, the more experience I get, of course. So I know a bit more. I think I know a bit more about how to develop ideas, how I can put ideas into, you know, do something interesting with them. For example, to take a concrete tune, the tune "Happy."
Okay.
That came out of another piece that I was composing, which was something I composed for Bergen Big Band a couple of years ago, and it was in 5/4 divided into triplets. Anyway, I made a bass ostinat over that, and then I turned that into something different in that piece that kind of it developed to a new section based on the same rhythmic ideas, and it didn't work, and that became but it was really good. So very often things that doesn't work in one tune, that I like, that become the, you know, the main idea for a new piece, and that's how it was. So I just continued from there, and then I changed the bass line, changed the harmonies, I changed the tempo and everything, so no one would be able to hear that. I think. No, I don't think so. But that's and then you get this very clear rhythmic idea that is in, I think it's in 15/8, and I mean, it's just what I play a lot to see how does it feel, how does that swing, what swings good, and then I take out, it's cool that the bass never plays on the downbeat, for example, and then the rhythmic pattern goes, and then it's modulating to a new section in the piece that's going to E flat from D to E flat, and then you put some polyrhythmic experiment things where the drums change it. The whole groove is kind of that was what was kind of the most interesting thing for me with that song, because I haven't experienced too much with that kind of drum beat before. It's kind of funny because there's a part going don't know if you know that.
Yeah. I listened to the record even today.
The idea is that you never really get the hand on the. I mean, there is a groove,
it's
but
like
it's
escaping, kind of.
Yeah, but it's very detailed and exactly notated and played. And some people seem to hear to understand that and to hear it like that, like I have written it, and they are like, wow, this is cool, you know, and some other people doesn't really hear that, and they think we just putting the tempo a bit down and try to play in 4/4 just really untight. It's kind of funny. So this I have heard from I mean, some people tell that they love it, and other people they think it's almost unrhythmic. It's very interesting but I mean, it's the first time I have I had that experience. Personally, I think it's really cool, and it's kind of composed for Anton, the way he plays.
Yeah, he's amazing.
The Anton Eger, that section. So anyway, that how do I compose? Was the question.
Oh, it's good. It's fantastic.
I mean, it's kind of Happy was much bigger piece first. You know, it's about it's very much about the form. I threw away a lot of parts on the song, so it could be much longer, and I think that's really important for me to work with the form, the shape of the piece. That's probably what I spend most time on, and that's why composing for me I have to do it over a long period of time. Mostly because I need time to listen to it, to kind of make a decision if this actually works. Does this transfer to the new section work? And I can never, if I change something in a piece, I have to wait until the next day to kind of decide if this works or not. And I spend a lot of time to the shape of the piece, and that's very important for me. And then the ideas can come from anywhere. It can be something I have played improvised in at a gig or a rehearsal situation. It can be something I heard from a record, from whatever. And it can be something you dream. It can be something that came to some. I mean, it's very, and sometimes it can be really great ideas. Other times it can be quite boring ideas, but you can turn them into something great. It's kind of just.
Do you have like a sketchbook?
What?
Do you have like a sketchbook where you write ideas down and then?
Yes, I write ideas down, and I also record ideas a lot of times. So both things. But I think for that section, for example, the B section or C section or in Happy, that was based on the idea playing 13/5, which was just something I was clapping one day. Probably I was just working, and then you start to think, and then I made this polyrhythm in that was 13/5, and it's quite funny because I used that first in a completely different piece. That idea that was written for piano, cello, flute, and saxophone, and it was called Who We Are, and it was composed for the piano player, the classical piano player, Leif Andersen, and it was kind of a floating rubato thing. I thought it was really interesting how I could use exactly the same idea there, and then Happy, and it's two so different worlds. It's not connected at all. that's an example I sometimes can show students or something how you can use exactly the same ideas in
different.
You can make a whole record out of just that one idea. And things stuff like that is what I'm better on now than 10 years ago because of all the experiments. How many ways directions you can go with each idea. And in a way, there were no bad musical ideas. There are no bad phrase or motive. It's just bad ways that you can do.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, imagine the Fifth Symphony of Beethoven. It's very, very simple melody, but once you get the harmonies, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How do you present this to your band? Let's say, Anton, of course, he's like a master drummer. But when you give, a lead sheet of, I don't know, 9 pages to your band, or how long it is, do you talk a lot about how to do the music, or just like they try it, or like do you present, especially to the drums, like what to do?
Yes, we do. But I mean, with Anton, we have played so much together. I think he knows very much how I think, and the other way. I write a lot of drum parts. I write them very detailed out.
Oh, really?
And he will,
okay. Okay.
Often he just learns everything I've written, and then he changed it to something greater. I think it's very important to have a very clear idea, especially in this music that is not, just mainstream, straight ahead. It's very important to have a very clear idea to each musicians what how I hear their role in my head. And then you can take it from there, and that's when the great things start to happen, when they start to change things and to integrate their own personality to color the music, and maybe even we change some parts. I'm open for everything in the that's when it starts to be fun and inspiring. And just that's kind of what jazz is about as well. So I and I try to explain. I try to tell them this. So I think I'm both very, very specific in what I want, but at the same time I'm very open for things to be changed. So yeah,
that's how it's supposed to be.
Of course, and it's very written out very much. It's very long parts often, and my goal for this project was to make kind of more lead sheets things, but I didn't succeed on that because suddenly it was just lots of pages. So
yeah. Like, where does this rhythmic complexity come with your music? Ever since I listen, Golden Xplosion and 15/8, you have lots of odd meters, and where does this come from in your music? I mean, this excitement for odd meters, or like rhythmical. I mean, this quite complex stuff.
I think I always been fascinated by why should all music be in 4/4, 3/4. From I was a young kid, when I got a drum set, 5 years old, I kind of very early started to play in 7/4, 5/4, and also 4/4. But I think it's very fun and very exciting what you can do with rhythms. And there's there were no limits. It's very easy to be creative. It's just to let everything flow and just go. And it's so fun to play around with. So I always had that attraction to that. It's just really fun to experience with and to try to create new rhythmical concepts, and also trying to learn them in the way that not just learn them, but learn them so well that you can do this even when you sleep. You don't need to. That's it needs to be in your body, and that's why you need to be very. I mean, you need to have the other musicians in the band need to
understand this. Yeah.
The people that can be on top of all of these rhythms, and have worked a lot with those stuff to be able to be free in the music. I think so. To me, for example, that tune "Happy" could never have been written in 4/4. It wouldn't be the whole tune wouldn't be that tune. So, and that's kind of because I've thought about that. What's the point in writing things in other time signatures? But that is that music, and it couldn't be in anything else, which is kind of a good feeling. It makes sense in a way.
Yeah, no, I understand you. I mean, I love odd meters also. Like I always write in 7, or somehow it makes. Unless it's like a ballad, then it's like, okay, it can be rubato or whatever. But like, how did you personally, as a horn player, you personally, when you play over these heavy structures, how can you practice this? I've listened to Chris Potter years ago.
Yeah.
And, he plays over an 11 or whatever, like it's floating over, and then exactly he knows all the time where he is. And I listen to you, and it's with you the same. Like, do you practice a lot? Do you analyze what goes over 15, or how did you learn that? I mean,
yes, I think it's a lot about not going to counting to 7 or to 9 or whatever, but to make clave. I mean, everything. When I do this, it's always based on I have some clave lying under there. That's and that's it can be a very easy thing when you start, and it's like in 7 folk about that.
Yeah.
That's the most basic, and then it can be that gag, and then you can start to develop all kind of more advanced claves, and then you go, and then I would have that just playing over it and always trying to play over a form of music to always have that in my mind. That I'm kind of, even how complex it is, it should be possible to. I should have a goal of making music out of it, and then I can start making polyrhythms as I did in 13/5.
Yeah.
3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Okay.
5. Okay, sorry. I was out now. But then you try. You have the metronome, for example. You play, or a drummer or whatever, and you're trying to play this polyrhythm. I mean, you don't need to use any of these things when you play in a live situation, or that in that situation it's all about just making as good music as you can. But knowing these things will help you to be much more free over it. And one very important thing that I think when you work with this is not just to work with it alone, but actually more important, work with these things together with other musicians, together with drummer and bass player, or a whole band, and that's what we did that a lot when I was in Copenhagen, with Anton, Eger, and Magnus Hjorth on piano, and also Eldh on bass. We worked a lot together on different rhythmical ideas. We played in a band, but we kind of practiced together as much as we rehearsed together, which was a very great school at the school in itself. So and of course also at that time I played a lot with Django Bates. He had a big band at the school, or a large ensemble each Friday. So play the music every week of him together with him, which was very inspiring. And also I played his music in smaller groups later on. So, but I've been working with these things the whole life, and I just think it's very, very. You can make so many great musical. So much great music out of just rhythms.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
that's kind of the basic for everything. It's rhythm in everything you do. All melodies has a rhythm. So it's very natural. It's the most important thing in music, beside of the sound. So yeah.
That's speaking of the sound. Like, who were your heroes? I mean, like, let's say, for the horn, I guess around 2000 or something like that. Or even earlier, like that you said, like, oh shit, I want to do this, what this guy does on the saxophone. You remember those moments? Like,
yeah, who was my heroes, or is my?
I mean, like, yeah,
on saxophone.
Like, yeah, like who impressed you that for jazz improvisation and like for jazz, let's say.
When I grew up, and really started to practice seriously jazz. I mean, I had two players that was big heroes at that moment. It was Charlie Parker and Michael Brecker.
Okay, interesting. Okay,
that was I tried to learn a lot of Charlie Parker tunes and
really?
And also a lot of the Brecker things. And who else? Wayne Shorter. It's a very different player, but
yeah,
his kind of he's I don't know. There's just something.
Approach is completely different. Yeah, I mean,
completely different. Just I don't know what something with the listening. He's been a very. I think his approach to improvising has been very, very inspiring to me. Who else? Lots of other sax players, of course. Sonny Rollins has been a huge influence. I love him. I think he's so funky. The way he phrases, it's been very. Yeah, I listen a lot to him for a long period, and I mean everyone, Joe Henderson,
sure.
But I was also listening. I did also listen a lot. I have also listened a lot to Ian Bellamy and also together with Django Bates, but also a couple of his solo records.
Oh man, Balloon Man, you know that one?
Yeah,
I love that.
I think, yeah, and it's a very different way of playing. I think it's fantastic. I mean, I don't know really today. I mean, I have so many heroes. That there are so many amazing in the history of music, and I can name. I mean, not just saxophone players, but every instrument. So it's but I think that's where it started.
It's like what about the the Norwegian jazz scene? I mean, of course, there was Garbarek, who I guess is like one of the most famous jazz saxophone players ever to come from not only Norway but Europe. But there you have like a really strong free jazz scene, improvised jazz scene. Like, did these worlds also touch you or your playing, or did you you went quite fast to Copenhagen, so you kind of escaped that, like, or not, or?
Yes, I escaped quite. I'm back in Norway. I'm back in Norway now.
You're back. Okay.
Yeah, I live in Oslo now. So, well, yes, of course. I played a lot with great Norwegian musicians, and I did this project with Trondheim Jazz Orchestra 10 years ago, almost 8 years ago. There is a big scene in Norway for what you describe, I might not have been. I'm not sure if I'm a big part of that scene as big part of that scene that I maybe would have been if I
stayed. Yeah.
If I stayed in Norway instead. I mean, I don't know all of everyone, but there was a lot of great players, and I played a lot with Arild Andersen.
We talked about you a lot in October. So.
Did you talk with him?
Yeah, no, we had a tour together with him and Bob Moses in trio, like 17 days.
Yeah. Great, yeah.
You know, and
yeah,
he gave me the latest CD affirmation, and you know, you're killing on that one. Like it's.
Thank you.
I mean, it's.
And that's kind of because playing with him is and Håkon Mjøseth Johansen and Helge Lien.
Beautiful.
That's kind of. If you know, so you know, Arild is he always wants something. I mean, he's so amazing to get things to happen. You know, in the music, and he's so amazing to play something that I will react to, and then something happens, and it's always something new happening. It's really amazing, and I think that kind of reminds me a bit about what I meant when I said I was inspired by Wayne Shorter's approach to improvising. I'm not. It kind of, I don't know, reminds me a bit, and I love to play that way. We actually did a gig. Yes, 2 days ago.
Really?
In Oslo.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah, I love hearing you in this context because it's way more freer than your music, you know, with Arild's.
Yes.
It's way more open and beautiful.
Yes, it is. So it was. I mean, it's definitely one part of me, and I love to kind of get to do that kind of things. That's different from. I mean, I think in my last quintet that did Pinball and Circle of Chimes, those two albums, when we played live, we kind of over the years developed quite a lot of an approach that reminded more and more about that. Went all kind of directions every gig. So it's definitely something that attracts. It's kind of. I love to go there. At the same time, I also like the opposite. I like to very strict arrangements. So I mean, it's both of it. And I actually also tried to take when I did a saxophone concerto for Bergen Philharmonic Orchestra, and I tried also there to, at least for my own part, integrate a bit of that to go a bit different direction. It's not so easy with 100 people in the orchestra, but doing so many different things, you always get inspired. I think when I compose for a project, almost all my inspirations for those compositions or very often comes from something that's a completely different kind of music. I think it's very hard to get inspired by music that is very close, that is kind of the same style. To me, it's much easier if I compose for this band, the Happy band. If I listen to Ligeti or Messiaen or Bartok, it's so easy to find a lot of inspirations.
I love that too. Yeah.
But if I listen to music that's more in the same style, it's a bit different. More difficult because you know that world so well. So I'm listening to a lot of music that I don't feel too much home in to try to develop. Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, I also do that, like to try to listen to different style. Otherwise, it's It's like I wanted to ask you, you know, you did like Suite for the Seven Mountains where you were what, 23 or 22? I think, right? Something like that.
Yes.
How did you do that actually, like to become a band leader? When was the point after Copenhagen decided like, okay, I will do my own record? How did that happen?
I think that's interesting that you know that album because it's nowhere.
I have it on MP3, so
amazing.
like someone probably sent it to me or so, like years ago. Like
yeah, that was the first. Yeah, that was the first album I did, and I didn't really know what I did. I think at that point, I just wrote and we recorded it, but it didn't really. Very few people know about it. So the first thing that got a lot of attention was the Golden Xplosion, and I mean, I just that's what I wanted to do, and I've been playing some years with a group called Jazz Kamikaze, and that started in 2005, and that became a very successful group very quickly, and we played really many concerts for the whole world for 2 or 3 or 4 years.
Oh, okay.
And then at some point it just something happened. Suddenly we didn't. Yeah.
It's always like that. Like
okay, and that's where I decided to do that project with Golden Xplosion after that, and I just Anton was a very natural choice to have. Sure. I had never played with Jasper Hoiby before, but Anton played with him in Phronesis, and he played amazing that music, and I kind of was very almost scared when I asked the Django if would you like to play on a club of and he said yes, and that was just a fantastic moment.
It's a beautiful one. Yeah, I love the track.
And I think his solo on that tune, Golden Xplosion, to me that's kind of legendary. Is one he plays so insanely good on it. And also so beautiful on the ballad called Sane, his keyboard playing that. So that was kind of and we recorded it and then released it and things just started to suddenly I just got a lot of gigs so everywhere and it was great. Really great.
You released it on Edition Records, right? I mean, which is now, but even then was, you know, it's one of the most important labels. How did you get involved with that label actually?
I was good question. I think I played with Django.
Okay.
On Ronnie Scott's. I think Dave was there, Dave Stapleton. But I sent him the record. Do you want to release this? And yes. And he had just recently been there, seen me. So that's how that's how that happened.
Yeah, because it's quite. I think that one got you like huge exposure, like you said. I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It was kind of the.
Yeah, sorry.
That's where it kind of. That's where it kind of started. In a way.
Yeah. You know, I also wanted to ask you about your connection with act music and Ziggy, and you know, you went from Edition to act, which kind of the same level, like really high important labels. Like, what did that mean for you, and how did you get that deal with act music? Actually, how did that happen?
It's a long time ago. think there was some. How did that happen? I mean, I didn't know. I had done a couple of things with Siggy from before. I played with Michael Wolny.
Oh yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't remember how exactly, but it gave me some possibilities, and especially for doing those records with the London Sinfonietta, which was really great and kind of has meant very much for me, especially the first record I did with London Sinfonietta. When after that came out, it's just suddenly exploded with classical ensembles, chamber, that kind of contacted me and wanted to work together. So that, in a way, that's kind of that album is, in a way, maybe my most important one for what happened in the after that. But it's hard to say. But yeah, I knew. So yeah, it just happened.
Yeah, sure. Like, are you still planning to work with orchestras? I mean, you've done so much stuff with bigger ensembles. Like that EST Symphony. I love that stuff also.
Yeah.
And like your own stuff. Like, are you planning also something again with orchestras or?
Yes, but at the same time, I want to. I mean, now I released Happy, which is a small group, and I'm trying to, because I also I've done so many things recently, and I have like 3 albums finished.
Oh shit! Okay.
Now that I don't know when it's coming out, and so I kind of trying to take a bit of time to find out what
to do it,
at least what kind of record I want to do next. But I think I want to continue. Yes, of course, I want to continue writing for orchestras, because I think I learned so much by doing it the last 10 years, and I'm much better on it now. And
sure.
I still feel I have a lot of undone things there.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's one of the most amazing things that I know, is to be on stage with a symphony orchestra and playing with them. It just feels fantastic, as for a jazz saxophone player from Bergen.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I've done like only like a 14-piece chamber orchestra. I wrote arrangements, and already that for me was like, man. And I can imagine like 60, 90 musicians, whatever. Like, just really,
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, it's incredible. It's just really, I really love to do that. So, and I love the kind of the contrast between doing a small jazz recording and then a big thing. So yeah, I will continue doing both.
Yeah. What about your solo saxophone work? Like, did you? I know you did a New Dawn, and it's so beautiful. Like, did you play gigs solo also? Like, or
yes, I did some gigs in Norway.
Okay. Oh.
After that came out, it was really nice. I only played 1 gig also in Norway, in Milan, and I found that that's very that's completely different. It's so much harder than everything else I've done. All my solo gigs have been between 60 and 75 minutes.
That's a lot.
So that was challenging, just having just a tenor saxophone and me. And what I learned from it is that I have to be much more true to each idea, and I just need to thrust each idea to stay there for quite a long time, because I don't want to be in the situation that after the first 5 minutes of the gig, I've played everything I know. Then,
Yeah, that's so heavy, man.
what do you do next? So it's but and that was a very great experience, and I love to do it. I felt I tried to build the concerts the same way that if it was a band, to see the whole thing, and I like the idea of not just improvising but to actually play tunes. So I played like 9 or 10 tunes or something, and it was very. Of course, it's quite physical hard to do because you're playing all the time.
All the time, yeah.
And if you have a bad day, you can't rely on a rhythm section. It's very fun, and I hope to do more of that.
Oh, super! Yeah, looking forward to that. Like, just you already mentioned you have 3 records ready. And you have Happy out now. What's in the can? What's until the summer, until June? What's on the schedule for you? I mean, what are the plans for this year?
Good question. I have I just need to think for this. I mean, in the spring, I am playing a bit with the Happy band. We have I don't know, 10, 15 gigs or something.
Oh, fantastic.
And then a few gigs with Arild, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, what else? Well, I'm doing the I did a commission for BBC Proms last year. And that was premiered in the Royal Albert Hall. And that's we're going to play that again with a Norwegian orchestra at the Festival in Bergen. So I'm really looking forward for that in June.
Yeah.
I'm doing a project with the Norwegian Wind Ensemble. It's going to play in at the Eldh Philharmony in June. It's going to be very
beautiful,
very nice. And then there's some touring here and there. I have some classical like chamber music festivals I'm going to be.
Oh man, beautiful.
So there's a bit different things, but I just recently last year I became a father for a second girl.
Congrats.
So thank you. So the first month of this year, my plan is to stay home quite a lot.
I hear you, man. We have a three week old daughter as well, so I know where you are.
Oh, really? 3 week? Congratulations! Thanks. Amazing.
So you see that,
yeah. Same here. So in the autumn I was traveling too much, and so that's kind of also I want to spend the time to more home, at least the first half of this year, and then see what happens. That's 3 kids. Yeah, that's even more than 2.
Yeah, exactly. But super, man. Nice. Beautiful. Cool. Marius, I'll let you be. So, thanks so much for taking the time, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. It was really great to talk to you.
Yeah, really nice stuff. I mean, appreciate it. And hope to catch you on a gig sometime. We'll drink a beer together after or something.
That would be wonderful. Let's do that.
Dr. Jazz.